Chapter 3266. All in all, the Saint Devil dynasty had placed all their hopes on the undying Demon King. Moreover, the undying Demon King was a terrifying existence. Even the so-called imperial family of the Saint Devil dynasty had to be respectful in front of the undying Demon King. If Lu Ming was really the undying Demon King's favorite disciple, it would be terrible. These people didn't dare to offend Lu Ming. When the undying Demon King came out of seclusion, these people wouldn't be able to withstand a single slap from him. The experts present looked at each other, not knowing what to do at this moment. Then what are you going to do with them? Finally, someone asked, pointing at Lu Ming. Of course, his tone was much gentler. He didn't dare to shout at Lu Ming aggressively. He just asked Lu Ming how to deal with them. To be honest, these people have offended me. With my previous temper, I would have slapped them to death, Lu Ming spoke. However, as soon as he said this, not only the older generation powerhouses, but the elites under Lu Ming's feet were also shocked. Some of them were so scared that they almost peed in their pants. If not for the fact that they clamped their legs together tightly, they would have peed in their pants. Don't kill us. Save us. Save us. Some of them screamed, their faces pale and their bodies trembling. But, at this moment, Lu Ming's tone changed. But I'm in a good mood these days. I don't want to be stained with blood. I can spare them. Thank you so much, Lu Ming, young Master Lu Ming. Those experts were overjoyed. Before Lu Ming could finish, some of them had already cupped their fists to thank him. I haven't finished. Why are you in such a hurry? I said I wouldn't kill them, but I didn't say I would let them go. If you want to let them go, give me some treasures in exchange. Lu Ming waved his hand and said indifferently, treasures in exchange? What treasures does young Master Lu Ming need? Someone asked. It's simple. This kid is only in the first heaven of the Divine King realm. Give me 10 top-grade 5th-level divine weapons. Lu Ming pointed at a young man and said, What? 10 top-grade 5th-level divine artifacts? Why don't you just rob someone? The elder of the young man roared. Watch your words. What do you mean by snatch? That's so unpleasant to hear. We're all cultured people. Can't you be more elegant? I'll call it bartering, understand? Moreover, this brat is a prodigy. In the future, his cultivation will at least be able to mix in with peak Divine King. Who knows, he might even be lucky enough to charge into the Divine Lord realm. Could it be that he's not worth 10 top-grade Tier 5 divine artifacts? If you think it's not worth it, then I'll kill him. Lu Ming said indifferently. Worth it, I'll trade. The elder of the young man gritted his teeth and agreed. His heart was filled with killing intent. If it weren't for his misgivings about Lu Ming's identity, he probably would have slapped Lu Ming to death. He has the cultivation base of the second sky of the King God realm, and he has 10 top-quality 7th-level divine weapons. She has the cultivation base of the second sky of King God realm, and she's so beautiful. She has 10 top-quality 8th-level divine weapons. Lu Ming pointed at the young men and women and named the price one by one. Although the elders of the young men were unwilling, they all agreed in the end. These young men were very talented. Although they weren't the strongest in their respective factions, they weren't far from it. They all had the potential to become divine lords in the future. In the end, they could only lower their heads and trade with Lu Ming. Because of Lu Ming's identity, they didn't dare to make a move. However, they were already cursing in their hearts. Especially when Lu Ming named the girls, he would add the word, I have pity, every time. However, when they saw the bruises on the faces of the young women, they couldn't bear to look at them. How could Lu Ming feel pity for them at all? They were so angry that their chests were stuffy. Alright, I've named the price. Let's exchange the money and exchange the goods. This guy, give me 10 top-grade Tier 5 divine artifacts first. Lu Ming carried a young man as if he was carrying a chicken. The young man roared and bared his fangs and brandished his claws. He wanted to attack Lu Ming, but they were selling him like goods. He couldn't stand such humiliation. However, in the next moment, the young man immediately became obedient. He didn't dare to utter a word. This was because Lu Ming said flatly, if you scream like a pig being slaughtered again, I'll strip you naked and parade you through the streets. This sentence was extremely lethal. It wasn't just this young man. The other young men also became obedient. This was especially true for the girls. If that really happened, it would be worse than killing them. I'll give it to you. The elder of the young man in Lu Ming's hand tossed a storage ring to Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught it and scanned it with his spiritual sense. There were 10 top-grade Tier 5 divine artifacts inside. Here. Lu Ming tossed the young man in his hand to the expert. Then, he continued to trade with another young man. Just like that, Lu Ming spent half an hour trading with all the young men. I've made a killing. I've made a killing. Lu Ming was overjoyed. There were more than 100 young men in total. All of them were at least in the first layer of the King God realm and above. They were all top-grade Tier 5 divine artifacts. Lu Ming's divine artifacts were piled up like a mountain. He had really made a killing. Lu Ming had traded so many divine artifacts for Qiuqiu's sake. In the dozens of years since Lu Ming had arrived at the Saint Devil Dynasty, Qiuqiu had finally advanced to the 5th layer of the King God realm. After reaching the 5th layer of the King God realm, Qiuqiu's appetite had increased greatly. The divine artifacts he ate were at least top-grade Tier 5 divine artifacts or fragments of top-grade Tier 5 divine artifacts. The low-grade ones didn't have much effect. Lu Ming had a headache dealing with such a big appetite. Naturally, he had to seize this opportunity to give Qiuqiu some food. With these divine artifacts, Qiuqiu would be able to eat for a while. Looking at Lu Ming's beaming face, the experts gritted their teeth and trembled slightly. They couldn't wait to kill Lu Ming on the spot. However, they were really worried about the Undying Demon King. If Lu Ming was really the Undying Demon King's disciple, it would be a big deal. Even if he's the Demon King's disciple, it's not our place to make a move on him. However, the younger generation can. It's normal for the younger generation to be killed when they compete with each other. One of young Prince Fenglu's uncles said coldly. Many people's eyes lit up when they heard that. That's right. Even if he's the Undying Demon King's disciple, the younger generation can still compete with each other. Some people were filled with killing intent. As for young Prince Fenglu, he glared at Lu Ming and said, "Lad, do you think you are very powerful? Let me tell you, it's because the true geniuses here have all entered the Demon Palace to cultivate. Look at the time, some of them should be coming out soon. When that time comes, you'll die." There are more geniuses? Really? Lu Ming said, his eyes shining brightly. He was excited when he heard that. There are other geniuses? Great, I can suppress them and get some treasures. If others knew what he was thinking, they would probably vomit blood on the spot. Chapter 3267. There's news. My cousin, Tang Hao, will come out of seclusion in 3 days from the Demon Palace. He has announced that he will defeat Lu Ming and trample him under his feet. Suddenly, one of the young men shouted excitedly. What? Tang Hao is coming out of seclusion? Great, great. Tang Hao has been cultivating in the Demon Palace for 100 years. He must have awakened his origin secret skill. He will definitely be able to defeat this person. Great. This brat is finally going to be defeated. Let's see how long he can remain arrogant. The other young men were overjoyed when they heard the news. They seemed to be very confident in Tang Hao. Brat, my cousin, Tang Hao, has challenged you to a battle in 3 days. Do you dare to accept the challenge? A young man with a swollen face and a swollen nose looked arrogantly at Lu Ming and taunted him. Of course, I will accept the challenge. These are divine artifacts. No, let's see how arrogant he is. Lu Ming nodded immediately. He was very excited. He had almost blurted out his thoughts and exposed them. Also, I will wait for him here. Tell him to come to the Demon Sky Garden in 3 days. Lu Ming said. After saying that, Lu Ming found a seat and sat down. He poured himself a glass of wine and drank slowly. Just you wait, the young man said to Lu Ming. Then, some of the young men left to find a place to recuperate. At the same time, the news spread like a whirlwind. Firstly, Lu Ming had defeated young Prince Fenglu and more than 100 other geniuses, which shocked many people. Later on, The news that Lu Ming was the disciple of the undying demon king shocked many people. When they found out that Tang Hao was coming out of the demonic palace to challenge Lu Ming 3 days later, more people gathered at the demonic sky garden to watch the battle. At this time, Lu Ming also learned about the situation from the others. More than 100 years ago, the demon palace, the cultivation sanctuary of the Saint Devil dynasty, was opened. At that time, a grand event was held and all the geniuses of the Saint Devil dynasty participated. In the end, the most outstanding geniuses were selected to enter the demon palace to cultivate. This cultivation lasted for 100 years. Lu Ming came to a realization. No wonder those geniuses from before were so weak. If the Saint Devil dynasty were all like that, then the difference was too great. There was no way they could be compared to the Taishu dynasty. It should be noted that the geniuses of the Taishu dynasty were not limited to Lu Ming's group who had participated in the Taishu Imperial Academy. There was also the previous group of geniuses who could be considered as part of the younger generation. However, in terms of age, they were slightly older than Lu Ming's group. It turned out that the stronger geniuses of the Saint Devil dynasty had entered the Devil Palace to cultivate. Lu Ming waited quietly. More and more people came to the Devil Sky Garden. The young men who were beaten up by Lu Ming had also recovered from their injuries and returned to the Devil Sky Garden. Tang Hao is here. Suddenly, someone exclaimed softly. The crowd automatically opened up a path, and a tall and sturdy young man stepped through the air. The young man was 2 meters tall. He had a buzz cut and bulging muscles like a wild beast. He gave people a strong sense of oppression. This was Tang Hao, the top genius of the younger generation of the Saint Devil dynasty. Boom! When Tang Hao landed on the ground, it was as if a mountain had crashed onto the ground, causing the ground to shake. You're Lu Ming? The undying demon king's disciple? Tang Hao stared at Lu Ming, his eyes glinting maliciously. That's right. Lu Ming replied indifferently. I don't believe it. The undying demon king is one of the strongest experts in the history of the Saint Devil dynasty. Why would he accept you as his disciple? If he were to accept someone, he would accept a genius from the Saint Devil dynasty. Tang Hao said, his eyes glinting maliciously. If you don't believe me, you can come and try. However, if I hit you too hard, I won't be responsible for your death. Lu Ming said indifferently, looking down on Tang Hao. This brat has such big words. He's really arrogant. That's right. Who is Tang Hao? He has reached the 3rd heaven of the King God realm a long time ago. Young Prince Feng Lu can't compare to him. This kid is so arrogant. He's asking for a beating. I really want to beat him up. Don't. I heard that he's the undying demon king's disciple. You're not from the younger generation. If you bully him, the undying demon king will bully you in the future. The people of the Saint Devil dynasty didn't like Lu Ming. However, they could only criticize him. No one dared to attack Lu Ming. Arrogant. I hope you have what it takes to be arrogant. Tang Hao's eyes glinted maliciously like a wild beast. Boom. He took a step forward. Demonic chi soared to the sky. His muscles bulged as he threw a punch at Lu Ming. The fist energy broke through the air, causing the void to shake violently. It formed a terrifying fist pressure that pressed down on Lu Ming. As soon as Tang Hao attacked, Lu Ming had a rough idea of Tang Hao's strength. Tang Hao was at the peak of the 3rd heaven of the King God realm. He had awakened the divine origin twice. However, Lu Ming didn't think much of Tang Hao's strength. Lu Ming released his divine origin power and threw a punch at Tang Hao. Fist against fist. Their fists were like 2 huge mountains clashing together. An intense explosion sounded out, and the resulting shock waves shot out in all directions, causing the surrounding people to continuously retreat. Then, a figure retreated continuously. He retreated more than 10 steps. Naturally, the person retreating was Tang Hao. With your strength, I can beat 100 of you. Lu Ming said disdainfully. Arrogant. Heavenly Demon's 3 transformations, Human Demon Transformation. Tang Hao roared. His body began to emit a terrifying black light. Then, his body began to swell and his bones began to creak. In the next moment, scarlet bone spikes emerged from his body. They looked extremely ferocious. It's the heavenly demon's 3 transformations, human demon transformation. Tang Hao is finally using this move. The heavenly demon's 3 transformations is extremely powerful. However, only a few people can cultivate it successfully. Let's see how that kid deals with it. Many people exclaimed. They knew how terrifying this move was. Bang! Tang Hao stomped on the ground. His entire body shot towards Lu Ming like a cannonball. Then he threw a punch at Lu Ming. His power was much stronger than before. There was a scarlet bone spike in front of his fist. It was sharper than a sword. However, Lu Ming's attack was simple. He used his finger as a spear. Terrifying energy gathered at the tip of his finger. Then a spear light shot out. This spear light had gathered 10 different kinds of divine power and 10 kinds of divine power of the origin. Its power was extremely strong. Clang! The spear light collided with the bone spike on Tang Hao's fist. Then, Tang Hao's body shook uncontrollably. He was forced back again. How could this be? Many people couldn't believe it. Tang Hao had used the heavenly demon's 3 transformations, the human demon transformation. However, he still wasn't Lu Ming's opponent. Tang Hao was also shocked. His heart was in a perilous situation. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 2nd King God realm. In the entire Saint Devil dynasty, there were less than 3 people who had the same fighting strength. Do you still have any trump cards? Show me all of them. Lu Ming said indifferently. Chapter 3268. After exchanging a blow with Tang Hao, he realized that the heavenly demon's 3 transformations had a similar effect to the battle character art. It could instantly increase one's battle strength. However, even if Tang Hao's battle strength had increased, it was still not worth mentioning to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was much stronger than when he had participated in the Great Void Imperial Family's Holy Institute. When he had participated in the Great Void Imperial Family's Holy Institute, Lu Ming's cultivation base was only in the 1st King God realm. Now, he had reached the peak of the 2nd King God realm. At that time, Lu Ming had 10 types of divine grade divine powers. Only the sovereign divine power had a 2nd awakening. The other 7 types had a 1st awakening. The other 2 types had not even awakened. Now, all 10 types of divine powers had a 2nd awakening. In addition, his divine skills and secret techniques had also improved greatly. His overall strength was much stronger than before. At that time, Lu Ming had needed to expend some effort to deal with a genius like Tang Hao. Now, he did not even need to use his ancient god body or secret technique of origin. Lu Ming did not immediately use his full strength to suppress Tang Hao because he was curious about the secret techniques and divine skills of the Saint Devil dynasty. He wanted to see what kind of secret techniques and divine skills his opponent had. Kid, you're really strong. However, I haven't used my full strength yet. Look at my strongest move, Demonic Mountain. Tang Hao roared. Demonic chi surged. Finally, a pitch-black demonic mountain appeared above his head. The demonic mountain was tall and heavy. Its aura was wild. An ancient and desolate aura burst out. This is secret technique of origin. Someone exclaimed. It's really the secret technique of origin. Tang Hao has really awakened the secret technique of origin after secluding himself in the demonic palace for 100 years. How terrifying! Once the secret technique of origin is used, he is invincible. That kid is going to lose. Many experts of the Saint Devil dynasty were excited. They felt that Tang Hao could finally suppress Lu Ming. He has awakened the secret technique of origin. Lu Ming's eyes moved. Tang Hao was not weak. At this level of strength, he could have entered the top 20 or even the top 10 during the Great Void Imperial Family's Holy Institute's Holy Institute. Interesting, the Divine Dragon Dharma Idol. Lu Ming growled, instantly activating the battle formula to quadruple his battle prowess. He punched out with both fists, and 2 claw divine dragons rushed out in succession. 2 huge 9-clawed dragons charged upwards and collided with the huge demon mountain. After 2 booms, the 2 claws shook violently and then exploded. You can't block my demon mountain. Suppress. Tang Hao hollered as he stood on top of the devil mountain like a devil lord. His aura was oppressive, and the devil chi in his body was constantly channeled into the Devil Mountain. The Devil Mountain continued to press down on Lu Ming. That kid is finally at a disadvantage. He's going to lose. Many people shouted excitedly, especially those Heaven's Prides who had been beaten up by Lu Ming. They shouted excitedly, hoping to see Lu Ming get beaten up by Tang Hao. Who told you that I was going to lose? I was just warming up. Watch carefully, Divine Dragon Dharma Idol. Lu Ming's disdainful voice rang out. Then his fists continuously blasted out. Dragon roars could be heard continuously as a vast dragon might erupted. Dragon chi boiled as 9-clawed divine dragons formed in the sky. 1, 2, 3. In the end, there were a total of 27 9-clawed dragons. In fact, Lu Ming could form 49 of them at once, but it wasn't necessary to deal with Tang Hao. 20 huge 9-clawed dragons pounced on the Devil Mountain one after another. It was a spectacular sight. 27 9-clawed dragons exploded consecutively. The force was so shocking that the Devil Mountain shook violently. On top of the Devil Mountain, Tang Hao's expression changed drastically. His body was trembling as if he was under great pressure. Boom! After a few breaths, the Devil Mountain couldn't take it anymore and exploded with a boom. Tang Hao gulped down a mouthful of blood and retreated rapidly. Come back! Lu Ming shouted as he soared into the sky. With a wave of his hand, a huge palm grabbed at Tang Hao. Tang Hao's origin secret technique was broken. He coughed up blood and retreated. It was difficult for him to form the Devil Mountain again. He could only use the Heavenly Devil Constipation technique to attack Lu Ming's huge hand. However, the 9 ice shackles silently flew out and coiled around Tang Hao. Then the ice shackles swung around and smashed Tang Hao heavily to the ground. Boom! The ground felt like it was smashed by a huge mountain. Tang Hao screamed as his bones cracked. He didn't know how many of them were broken. Swoosh! Lu Ming's figure moved and descended from the sky. He stepped on Tang Hao's body. Tang Hao screamed as he completely lost the ability to resist. The scene was silent. Fast, too fast. Just a moment ago, they thought that Tang Hao could suppress Lu Ming. Just when they were rejoicing, Lu Ming blasted out dozens of 9-clawed dragons and heavily injured Tang Hao. All of this happened in a few breaths. Tang Hao lost? Someone asked. His voice was hoarse and he still couldn't believe it. Tang Hao was a supreme talent who had awakened the origin secret technique. With such combat strength, he was defeated by Lu Ming, who was at a higher level. This was unbelievable. In the entire Saint Demon Imperial Court, there was only one person who could do this. Everyone thought to themselves. This guy said that he is the disciple of the Undying Demon King. Maybe it's true. Yes, with such talent, it's normal for the Undying Demon King to think highly of him. After this battle, many people believed that Lu Ming might really be the disciple of the Undying Demon King. With such talent, many experts would be envious and fight to take him in as their disciple. Others were shocked, but Lu Ming didn't think it was strange. Although Tang Hao was strong, he couldn't compare with Chu Chengkong, Yi Jifan, Su Weia, and the others at the same level. He couldn't compare with Autumn Moon, let alone the unfathomable Di Jenny. When the Great Void Imperial Family Holy Academy was held, Lu Ming could defeat him with his combat strength. Now, do you think I'm still arrogant? Lu Ming stepped on Tang Hao's body and looked down at him. You? Tang Hao was furious. He wanted to resist, but Lu Ming's foot was like a mountain, making it difficult for him to move. Don't move, or I'll strip you and parade you through the streets, Lu Ming said, and Tang Hao shut up. Lu Ming, let go of Tang Hao, a white-haired elder shouted. He was Tang Hao's elder. Tang Hao was the top supreme talent in this force. It was a great humiliation for him to be stepped on in public. I'll definitely release it, but it depends on what you want. Lu Ming smiled with a harmless expression on his face. Many people's faces twitched. Obviously, Lu Ming was going to ask for treasures again. You name a price. Tang Hao's elder had no choice but to ask. He couldn't do anything when he met someone like Lu Ming, who might be the disciple of the Undying Demon King. Chapter 3269. That's easy. I need some cold treasures. Bring me some cold treasures. Lu Ming said. This time, he needed some cold treasures to neutralize the energy of the stellar core. Cold treasures? I don't have any. I need to go back to my family to apply. The white-haired old man said. Go ahead. I'll wait here. Lu Ming said. He had no intention of letting Tang Hao go. The old man had no choice but to leave his family to apply for the cold treasures. Lu Ming didn't have to wait for long before the white-haired old man returned. This is the cold treasure you asked for. A pitch-black rock appeared in the white-haired old man's hand. As soon as he took it out, it radiated with a terrifyingly low temperature, causing the temperature to plummet to a shocking level. Even a few god kings who had just become god kings shivered. Good treasure. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The stone's temperature was shockingly low. It was definitely one of the best cold treasures. It could definitely neutralize a large amount of energy from the stellar core. The white-haired old man threw the black stone to Lu Ming. A ray of light shot out from Lu Ming's glabella and the black stone disappeared. It had been swallowed by the quantifying character formula. This cold treasure is good. The energy it neutralizes is enough for you to break through to the fourth heaven of the Divine King realm. The quantifying character formula laughed. Lu Ming was also delighted. He grabbed Tang Hao and threw him to the white-haired old man. Here you go. If you have any other geniuses, feel free to look for me. Lu Ming said with a smile. In his opinion, those geniuses who had challenged him were all treasures. This guy, the others were speechless. They gritted their teeth when they saw Lu Ming's greedy look. Then, Lu Ming ignored them and sat down with his legs crossed. With the cold treasure, the quantifying character formula could refine the energy of the stellar core very quickly. Pure energy kept flowing into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming circulated the heaven and earth 10,000 Dao art and transformed the energy into divine power. Soon, there were not many people left in the vicinity of the demonic sky garden. Of course, there were still a few people who stayed nearby to observe, hoping that a stronger prodigy would appear to suppress Lu Ming. Time passed day by day. Lu Ming stayed in the Devil Sky Garden for an entire year. On this day, Lu Ming's body suddenly emitted a powerful fluctuation. But as soon as this fluctuation appeared, it was suppressed by Lu Ming. Third King God Realm. Lu Ming smiled. After 1 year of cultivation, he had used the extremely cold treasure to neutralize a large amount of energy from the nucleus of a star. Finally, he had broken through to the third sky of King God Realm. It was mainly because Lu Ming's cultivation base was at the peak of the second sky of King God Realm. He wasn't far from the third sky of King God Realm. That was why he could break through so quickly. As his cultivation base had reached the third sky of King God Realm, Lu Ming's competence had increased a lot. Old Liang, how much energy is left in the star nucleus? Lu Ming asked. When he had obtained the star nucleus from the early heavenly god realm, the energy from the star nucleus had helped him break through. Now that he had reached the third sky of King God Realm, he had consumed a large amount of energy. Lu Ming was worried about how much energy was left in the star nucleus. Based on the 10 types of divine power you have now, the remaining energy is enough for you to break through to the 7th sky of King God Realm. Liang Ju said, I can only reach the 7th sky of King God Realm? Lu Ming muttered, That's normal. Every time you break through, you consume more energy than others. The energy from the star nucleus is enough for an ordinary cultivator to break through to the 1st sky of King God Realm. But for you, you can only break through to the 7th sky of King God Realm. Liang Ju said. Lu Ming nodded helplessly. Back then, Long Zhoushan had wanted to use the star nucleus to restore Yulong's strength to its peak. It was obvious that the star nucleus contained a large amount of energy. Unfortunately, Lu Ming needed too much energy to break through. If there's a chance, I'll have to gather more resources. Otherwise, once the energy from the star nucleus is used up, my cultivation speed will be as slow as a tortoise's. Lu Ming thought to himself. He then continued to cultivate and consolidate his cultivation base. At this time, another piece of news came from outside the Devil Sky Garden. Another prodigy walked out of the Devil Palace. This time, there were 2 prodigies. Their strength and fame were above Tang Hao's. When the 2 prodigies found out about Lu Ming, They said that they would personally suppress Lu Ming. Their words caused a huge commotion. The area around the Devil Sky Garden became lively again. Many people gathered to see Lu Ming being suppressed. Lu Ming naturally noticed the change. Why is it so lively all of a sudden? Lu Ming ended his cultivation and looked around, feeling a little surprised. That was because there were many figures in the sky around him. He's here. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Then, a figure stepped on the sky and landed on the courtyard where Lu Ming was. He did not bother to hide his powerful aura. It formed a mountain-like pressure that pressed down on Lu Ming. Fourth layer Divine King Realm. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Song Lu, you're here early. However, this person is mine. At this time, a voice came from another direction. Before the voice died away, a red light flashed and a figure appeared in the sky above the courtyard. The figure was wearing a blood-red robe and was surrounded by blood-red demonic chi. It's the Blood Demon. Someone exclaimed. It's indeed Song Lu and the Blood Demon. Let's see how arrogant that kid is. That's right. Song Lu and the Blood Demon are much stronger than Tang Hao. They can easily suppress this person. Many people nearby were excited. They were eager to see the scene of Lu Ming being suppressed. However, Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Two more here. Very good. Lu Ming whispered. In his eyes, those two were not supreme talents but treasures. Blood Demon, I'm one step ahead of you. This person is mine. The young man who came first looked at the Blood Demon and said coldly, You came first so he's yours? This person injured one of the supreme talents of the Blood Demon family and even took the opportunity to blackmail us. I must suppress him personally and make him kneel on the ground like a dead dog. The Blood Demon said. His eyes were filled with cold and murderous intent. You guys talk too much. Stop fighting. Come at me together. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was a little impatient and he shouted loudly. He wanted to get rid of those two as soon as possible so that he could exchange for treasures. Arrogant. Blood Demon kill. The Blood Demon bellowed furiously. Crimson light permeated the air. With a wave of his hand, a crimson light flew out and slashed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand and a few nine-clawed dragon flew out and blocked the Blood Demon's blood-red light. Since you can defeat Tang Hao, you must have some ability. I'll let you have a taste of my infinite Blood Demon. The Blood Demon shouted and his strength was fully unleashed. Infinite blood-red light filled the air. Then, a sharp sound was heard. Blood-red shadows rushed out towards Lu Ming. Chapter 3270. Blood-red shadows rushed towards Lu Ming. These shadows were the Blood Demon's secret origin technique, Infinite Blood Demon. Lu Ming flicked his finger and a spear light flew out, destroying one of the blood-red shadows. However, after the blood-red shadows were destroyed, they reformed and continued to attack Lu Ming. In an instant, at least 100 blood-red shadows pounced towards Lu Ming. Each one of them had astonishing strength. Lu Ming punched out with both fists. This time, a total of 49 nine-clawed dragons appeared. Dragon roars shook the sky as they attacked the blood-red shadows. Those blood-red shadows were constantly destroyed, but in the next moment, they reformed again. It's useless. My infinite Blood Demon is indestructible. The Blood Demon laughed wildly. The blood-red light on his body became denser and denser. More blood-red shadows condensed and attacked Lu Ming. Is that so? Lu Ming's face was calm. Nothing was truly indestructible. The so-called indestructible was relative. If one's strength exceeded a certain range, even the so-called indestructible would be destroyed. Lu Ming circulated his sovereign's god force. An ancient stone door appeared above his head. It was the Sovereign's Gate. It's an origin technique. This kid really has mastered an origin technique. Many people exclaimed. This was because Lu Ming did not perform the secret skill of the origin at all. If he was already so powerful without using his source energy secret technique, how powerful would he be after using his source energy secret technique? Boom! The Sovereign's Gate grew to 100 zhang tall and emitted a powerful suction force. The blood-red shadows were attracted to the Sovereign's Gate and approached it. Even if the Blood Demon tried his best, it was useless. Then, the sovereign's gate pressed down like an ancient mountain, suppressing the blood-red shadows. The blood-red shadows dispersed. This time, after the blood-red shadows dispersed, they did not reform again. The blood demon's body shook violently as he retreated. Is this indestructible? Isn't it destroyed too? Lu Ming said indifferently. The sovereign's gate continued to suppress the blood-red shadows. Soon, all the crimson shadows were destroyed. Lu Ming took a step forward, and a boundless aura surged towards the blood demon. The blood demon felt as though he had been hit by a mountain, and his body retreated rapidly. Song Lu, let's attack together. Quick, let's attack together and suppress this person. The blood demon roared anxiously. Lu Ming's strength had far exceeded his expectations. At this moment he was extremely shocked and furious. Savage Cage. Without any hesitation, Song Lu unleashed his origin source secret technique as well. A gigantic cage, incomparably ancient, came crashing down on Lu Ming, intending to trap Lu Ming within the cage. To be honest, Master Blood Demon and Song Lu were really strong. They had the 4th King God Realm cultivation base and had awakened the God power factor twice. Moreover, they had awakened the secret techniques of the origin. His strength was almost on par with Yi Jifan and Qian Xingxian. Of course, it didn't mean that the Saint Devil dynasty was so powerful that 2 of their geniuses were so strong. The main reason was that Master Blood Demon and Song Lu were slightly older than Lu Ming, Qian Xingxian, and the rest. They were about the same age as the previous batch of geniuses from the Taishu Imperial Academy. Among the previous batch of geniuses from the Taishu Imperial Academy, there were many who had such strength. After all, they had cultivated for so many years. However, Lu Ming was already in the 4th King God realm. Such strength was not enough to withstand a single blow. Boom! The Dominator's gate radiated an ancient light, filled with the traces of time. It rushed out and rushed into the savage cage. The two collided, and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. Then, the savage cage formed by Song Lu shook violently and kept exploding. In the end, it fell apart. Song Lu's body also retreated rapidly. Lu Ming quickly caught up. With a wave of his arms, dozens of 9-clawed dragon appeared and pounced on Song Lu and Master Blood Demon. Master Blood Demon and Song Lu tried their best to resist, while Lu Ming controlled the Dominator's gate to suppress Master Blood Demon. Master Blood Demon roared. He wanted to resist the Dominator's gate, but he was directly suppressed by the Dominator's gate. He fell heavily to the ground and vomited blood. He was severely injured. Then, the Dominator's gate flashed and suppressed Song Lu. Song Lu followed in Master Blood Demon's footsteps and was forcefully suppressed. The two geniuses lay side by side on the ground, coughing up blood and twitching non-stop. The spectators at the scene looked at each other in dismay. Master Blood Demon and Song Lu had also been defeated. They had lost so quickly that it was completely unexpected. They had been hoping that Master Blood Demon and Song Lu could suppress Lu Ming. However, reality had given them a hard slap in the face. 3rd King God Realm. That kid has broken through to the 3rd King God Realm. I remember that he was in the 2nd King God Realm a year ago. Now he's in the 3rd King God Realm. No wonder he's so strong. Master Blood Demon and Song Lu's families are going to bleed. Many people were discussing softly. As expected, Lu Ming landed beside Master Blood Demon and Song Lu. His 2 spears were pressed against Master Blood Demon and Song Lu's glabella. The 2 of them did not dare to move. Where are the families behind these 2? Is no one coming to recognize them? Lu Ming asked. No one said a word. Are these guys going to stay here and not come out? Lu Ming sneered in his heart. The other party refused to come out because he was betting that Lu Ming would release the Blood Demon and Song Lu. Since no one is coming out, I'll just have to kill these 2. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with killing intent. The 2 spears were aimed at Master Blood Demon and Song Lu's glabella. A terrifying whistling sound was heard. If the spears hit, Master Blood Demon and Song Lu's glabella would be pierced and their souls would be destroyed. No, immediately, a few panicked voices were heard. They were extremely anxious. The spears stopped 1 millimeter away from Master Blood Demon and Song Lu's glabella. The cold killing intent made Master Blood Demon and Song Lu break out in cold sweat. Then, two middle-aged burly men walked out from the crowd. Seeing that Master Blood Demon and Song Lu were fine, the two middle-aged burly men heaved a sigh of relief. They were almost scared to death just now. Just now, they deliberately kept quiet to let Lu Ming think that there was no one behind Master Blood Demon and Song Lu. Since they could not extort them, they could only release them. They did not expect Lu Ming to be so ruthless. Since he could not extort them, he wanted to kill Master Blood Demon and Song Lu directly. The two of them were frightened and could only scream. Finally, you can't hold it in any longer. Lu Ming smiled faintly. I just rushed over. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. One of the middle-aged burly men smiled awkwardly. In fact, he wanted to slap Lu Ming to death. These two people are very talented and have a bright future ahead of them. What do you want to exchange for them? Lu Ming asked. Little brother, name a price. One of the middle-aged burly men said helplessly, absolute cold treasures. I only want absolute cold treasures now. Of course, I need extremely high-quality absolute cold treasures. Show me. If it's suitable, I can consider letting them go. Lu Ming said. Chapter 3271. The two middle-aged men had no choice but to return to search for treasures of absolute frost. Before long, the two of them returned with treasures of absolute frost. However, Lu Ming was not satisfied with one of the treasures of absolute frost. It was not of high quality. In the end, the person took out a large number of high-tier supreme-grade divine weapons and Lu Ming agreed to let him go. Lu Ming received an absolute frost treasure and a large number of high-tier supreme-grade divine weapons. He smiled and said, Hey, are there any other geniuses who want to challenge me? I'll wait here. Lu Ming said loudly. Many people's eyelids twitched. This guy was still not satisfied. Lu Ming fed the absolute frost treasure to the measuring character formula and continued to cultivate. After more than a year, the energy of the absolute frost treasure was almost completely refined. Lu Ming's cultivation base had also improved. He was almost at the late third layer of the King God realm, but there was still a long way to go before he reached the fourth layer of the King God realm. The further one progressed, the harder it was to improve. In the past year, no one had come to challenge Lu Ming. It seems like no one will come for a while. Lu Ming was a little disappointed. He left the magical sky garden and returned to his residence. Qiu, come eat. After returning to his residence, Lu Ming took out a large number of supreme-grade divine weapons and threw them to Qiu. Qiu opened his mouth wide, grabbed the divine weapons, and munched on them. Lu Ming felt his teeth ache. Those were all supreme-grade divine weapons, and they were all at least 5th-level supreme-grade divine weapons. However, in Qiu's mouth, they were like crunchy candies. Lu Ming could not help but admire Qiu's appetite. In the following days, Lu Ming cultivated in his residence and wandered outside. His days were leisurely. In the blink of an eye, another few years had passed. Boom boom boom. This time, Lu Ming was wandering around when a dull rumble came from the sky. In the distance, demonic qi shot up into the sky. 5 pillars of demonic qi shot up into the sky. They were incomparably huge. What's that? What's going on? Many people were alarmed and looked into the distance. Many people flew in that direction to ask for information. Not long after, a piece of shocking news spread like a hurricane. The 5-directional devil steel had opened. What? The 5-directional devil steel opened? Isn't it not time to open? Why would it open in advance? The important news is that Mo Qianye opened the 5 directions devil steel in the depths of the devil palace. So it's the son of a saint and a devil, Mo Qianye. Many people were excited. Lu Ming also received some news. The 5-directional devil steel was the supreme treasure of the Saint Devil dynasty. It had been passed down for countless years. Normally, it was just like an ordinary stone steel. There was nothing strange about it. Once it opened, there would be great fortune. It was the good fortune of the younger generation. That was because all kinds of treasures would fly out from the 5-direction devil steel. Only the strongest geniuses would be able to obtain them. Every time, the treasures that flew out were different. There was no pattern, and it was incomparably mysterious. Some people said that the ancestors of the king god realm had sealed countless treasures in the 5-directional devil steel as a gift for the younger generation. Others said that the 5-directional devil steel led to an even stronger and more terrifying force. The king god realm was just a branch of that force, and the treasures came from that force. However, neither of these theories were proven. There was a time limit to the activation of the 5-directional devil steel. Every time the 5-directional devil steel was activated, the time was fixed. Of course, there were exceptions. Even in the depths of the Devil Palace, there was a way to open the 5-directional devil steel. However, unless one was a peerless genius, no one would be able to open it. This time, Emochinya had successfully opened the 5-directional devil steel. The 5-directional devil steel has opened. It's another battle between the heavens. Let's go and take a look. It's been more than 100 years since the last battle. I wonder what kind of breakthroughs the strongest batch of heavenly geniuses have made in the Devil Palace? This time, it will definitely be more intense than the last. Many people flew in the direction of the demonic chi. Let's go and take a look. Lu Ming also flew in the direction of the demonic chi. Soon, Lu Ming saw 5 gigantic stone steels. They were separated into 5 different directions, and they stood on top of 5 mountain peaks. Every stone steel emitted dense demonic chi, and the demonic chi that filled the sky came from the steels. The heavenly geniuses of the Devil Palace have all come out. Someone exclaimed. Lu Ming looked over and saw a crack in the center of the 5-directional devil steel. Figures flew out from the crack, and they flew towards the 5 steels. The heavenly geniuses of the Devil Palace had all come out to fight for the fortune of the 5-directional devil steel. We can't miss the fortune of the devil's steel. Let's go! Let's go! Other youths like Feng Lu also rushed towards the 5-directional devil steel. Only the younger generation of heavenly geniuses would be able to obtain the fortune of the 5-directional devil steel. Those above a certain age wouldn't be able to get close to the 5-directional devil steel. I'll join in the fun as well. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and his figure blurred as he rushed towards one of the devil steels. He rushed towards the eastern devil steel. When he got closer, he discovered that there was a flight of stairs at the bottom of the devil steel. There were only 9 steps to this flight of stairs. Every single step was huge, and they were made of stone. It was as though they were a battle stage. And now, there were many young people fighting fiercely on every step. Lu Ming discovered that the higher he went, the fewer people there were. What's so special about this flight of stairs? Lu Ming asked curiously, and he grabbed one of the youths beside him. Don't hold me back. It's you. The youth was furious, and he wanted to scold Lu Ming. However, when he saw Lu Ming's face, his body trembled in fear. He had been tortured by Lu Ming in the past. Speak, Lu Ming said coldly, and a cold light flashed through his eyes. I'll speak. I'll speak. The youth hurriedly told Huang Xiaolong everything he knew. As it turned out, not everyone could obtain the fortune of the 5-directional devil steel. In truth, only 9 people would be able to obtain the fortune of the 5-directional devil steel. 9 people corresponded to the 9 steps. When there was only 1 person on each step, a treasure would fly out from the devil steel. The higher the steps, the closer one was to the devil steel, and the more valuable the treasure one would obtain. Moreover, the stairs were filled with a powerful pressure. The higher the stairs, the greater the pressure. Many people couldn't reach the higher steps even if they wanted to. Moreover, even if they managed to reach the higher steps, they would be challenged by other heavenly geniuses. Lu Ming finally understood why there were fewer people at the higher steps. The lowest few steps had the most people, and the competition was the most intense. Only 1 person could remain on the steps. Chapter 3272. At this moment, the battle was still ongoing. There were people fighting on every step of the staircase. However, many people had already been eliminated. That was because each person only had 1 chance to step on the steps. Once they were blasted off the steps, there would be a force blocking them, preventing them from stepping on the steps again. Otherwise, there would be no end to the slaughter. In that case, one had to act according to one's ability. Some powerful prodigies encountered even stronger existences in order to ascend the steps. If they were blasted off the steps, they wouldn't even be able to get the second-tier treasures. Interesting. Let's get a few treasures to use. Lu Ming smiled and rushed towards the steps below the demonic steel. Even if he obtained a demonic treasure and couldn't use it, he could sell it, right? Bang. Lu Ming rushed to the first step. Immediately, Lu Ming felt a strong pressure acting on his body. Demon, demon, demon. A voice kept roaring in his mind, filled with strong pressure. If one's cultivation was insufficient, their mind would collapse in such an environment, and they would be blasted off the steps by the pressure. However, this level of pressure was not worth mentioning to Lu Ming. He was very relaxed. There were more than 10 prodigies fighting on this step. Get lost. Seeing Lu Ming come up, 2 people charged towards Lu Ming at the same time, wanting to blast Lu Ming off the steps. That was because one more person meant more competition. You will be the ones to go down. Lu Ming waved his hand, and 2 9-clawed dragons flew out, grabbed the 2 people, and flung them off the steps. They couldn't resist at all. The others were shocked and hurriedly retreated. They were secretly glad that they didn't attack Lu Ming just now. Otherwise, they would be the ones to go down. Lu Ming glanced at them and didn't stop. He stepped forward and stepped onto the second step. On the second step, the pressure and roar were a little stronger. However, to Lu Ming it was still very easy. On the second step, there were also a dozen or so youths. When they saw Lu Ming, they also distanced themselves from Lu Ming. The strength that Lu Ming had displayed just now had shocked them. Since he didn't attack Lu Ming naturally couldn't be bothered with him. This was because Lu Ming's target was the 9th step. Lu Ming continued to step forward. Soon, Lu Ming appeared on the 5th step. He realized that although these youths had also come from the Devil Palace, their strength was far inferior to Tang Hao, the Blood Devil, and Song Lu. Although most of them were in the 3rd or 4th King God realm, none of them had awakened the origin secret technique. Moreover, many of them were not young. They were equivalent to the age of the previous batch of students of the Great Void Imperial Academy. In fact, even among the previous batch of students of the Taishu Imperial Academy, there were very few who could awaken the origin source secret technique. It wasn't that easy to awaken the origin source secret technique. Among the geniuses of the Saint Devil Dynasty, Tang Hao, the Blood Devil, and Song Lu were the top geniuses. They were very few who had awakened the origin source secret technique. These geniuses who hadn't awakened the origin source secret technique were even less of a match for Lu Ming. Lu Ming continued to move forward. He arrived at the 6th step. There were still 5 people competing for the 6th step. When Lu Ming stepped onto the 6th step, they all looked at Lu Ming cautiously. If Lu Ming also wanted to compete for the 6th step, they would have no choice but to attack Lu Ming. You guys continue. Lu Ming smiled and continued to move forward. He stepped onto the 7th step. The 5 people on the 6th step heaved a sigh of relief. Then they continued to fight. There were 3 people fighting on the 7th step. The strength of these 3 people was not weak at all. They were all in the 4th King God realm and had awakened twice. They were very strong. Who is this kid? I've never seen him before. One of them whispered. They had just come out of the Devil Palace. They had never heard of Lu Ming's name. A nameless kid dares to compete for the fortune? I'll send him down. A skinny young man shouted coldly. He dashed toward Lu Ming. Demonic chi surged as he threw a punch at Lu Ming. Under such great pressure, he was still able to unleash such a powerful attack. It was obvious that he wasn't weak. However, for Lu Ming, he was just SOS. Lu Ming pointed his finger like a spear and pointed it at the skinny young man's palm. The skinny young man's palm was pierced through, causing blood to spurt out. The skinny young man shrieked in agony and retreated rapidly with a horrified expression. Since you've attacked me, there's only one outcome for you. Get down. Lu Ming used the 9 Heavens Rock technique. His body flashed and he caught up with the skinny young man. Then, he grabbed the skinny young man's arm and swung it with all his might. The skinny young man screamed and his body flew out of the steps. The remaining two young men gasped and looked at Lu Ming in shock. The young man just now was about the same strength as them. However, he couldn't even withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. How could this young man who appeared out of nowhere be so strong? He's so strong. I hope he can continue to go up. The two young men prayed in their hearts. Their prayers were immediately fulfilled because Lu Ming didn't stop. He took a few steps and rushed to the 8th step. The pressure on the 8th step was even greater. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on him. There was also a loud roar that constantly shook Lu Ming's mind. If one wasn't strong enough, it would be difficult to even stand, let alone compete. There were two elites fighting for the 8th step. When they saw Lu Ming coming up, the two of them stopped and retreated a distance. They stared at Lu Ming cautiously. "You guys continue." Lu Ming smiled and didn't stop either. He headed for the 9th step. This kid is really going for the 9th step. The two people on the 9th step are very strong. I hope they can knock him down. I hope so. The two of them are stronger than the Blood Demon and Song Lu. The older generation figures who were watching from afar were discussing. They couldn't wait for Lu Ming to be suppressed. Lu Ming was really unpopular here. There were also two young men fighting on the 9th step. When they saw Lu Ming heading for the 9th step, the two of them stopped at the same time and retreated to guard against Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming stepped onto the 9th step and immediately felt a terrifying pressure on his body. It made his muscles tremble. Demon, demon, demon. The roars were even more terrifying. This kind of roar was useless even if one blocked one's ears with divine power. This was because this kind of roar directly affected one's mind, and even the soul. Fortunately, Lu Ming's soul was strong enough. It wasn't too difficult for him to block it. "Why did you stop? Go on." Lu Ming looked at the two young men on the 9th step and said with a smile. Chapter 3273. You guys can continue. Lu Ming said with a smile. The others were speechless. You're already up there, yet you're asking others to continue? Isn't it too obvious that you're trying to reap the benefits? Only a fool would continue fighting. Where did this kid come from? He's very strong. I don't know. I've never seen him before. The two youths on the 9th step were conversing. They were originally competitors, but when Lu Ming walked up, they vaguely felt that they had a common enemy. Wei Tong, we've fought 13 times, and there hasn't been a clear winner. This time, we must have a clear winner. However, this kid is obstructing us. Why don't we work together and knock him down first? One of the youths in green said to the other. That's exactly what I want. The youth named Wei Tong nodded. A powerful aura surged towards Lu Ming. Bang, bang. The two youths walked towards Lu Ming as though they were carrying a mountain on their backs. The ground shook as they approached Lu Ming. The two of you must be tired after enduring so much pressure. You should rest early. Lu Ming smiled and the gate of God appeared. Wei Tong hollered and took a step toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the youth in green also charged towards Lu Ming from another direction. Without a doubt, the two of them were peerless geniuses. Their cultivation bases were in the 5th layer of the God King realm, and their quintessence had awakened a second time. They had even awakened their quintessence secret techniques. Their strength was much stronger than the Blood Demon Master and Song Lu. The 5 directional devil steels had attracted all the geniuses. Since the two of them could stand on the highest step of the 5 directional devil steels, their strength was naturally terrifying. The two of them executed their quintessence secret techniques at the same time. They turned into a torrent of energy that surged towards Lu Ming. Facing such an attack, Lu Ming had no choice but to brace himself to deal with it. With a roar, Lu Ming executed the azure-armored ancient god art, activating the battle symbol art to quadruple his combat strength. The 10 types of quintessence in his body were all activated. The gate of God emitted a dazzling radiance as it pressed forward. Boom, boom. The two of them collided, creating a shockwave that filled the sky. The entire 9th step was drowned in a vast amount of energy. Then, the two figures quickly retreated. The people that retreated were Wei Tong and the azure-robed young man. How could this be? Those who saw this scene were simply shocked to the extreme. Lu Ming's battle prowess was also too ridiculously strong. Wei Tong and the young man in the cyan robe were peerless geniuses. Their cultivation bases had reached the 5th godly king layer. They had used their origin skills at the beginning, but the two of them were still no match for him. Lu Ming let out a long cry as he stepped forward. The gate of the Lord emanated an ancient glow as it continued to descend. War God Strike. Following which, Lu Ming brandished his spear and executed the War God clan's ultimate technique, War God Strike. A huge war god appeared, riding on a warhorse. The warhorse stepped on the void, brandishing a long spear as it charged towards Wei Tong. As for the Gate of Domination, it focused on the azure-robed youth. The green-robed young man couldn't withstand the power of the Gate of Dominion alone. After the second clash, his origin secret technique was almost destroyed. His body trembled violently as he was forced to retreat, blood spilling from his mouth. What's wrong? Is this all you've got? Continue. Lu Ming continued to control the Gate of Domination to attack the azure-robed youth. The azure-robed youth let out a long cry as he turned into a ball of cyan light, emitting a blinding radiance as he tried to repel the Gate of Domination. However, in the end, the cyan light was destroyed by the Gate of Domination. The azure-robed youth screamed in pain as his body was sent flying like a cannonball. The azure-robed youth was defeated. Sush. Lu Ming immediately controlled the Gate of Domination to attack Wei Tong. How could Wei Tong be a match for the Gate of Domination combined with the War God Strike? He followed in the azure-robed youth's footsteps and was sent flying. Wei Tong and the azure-robed youth, two peerless geniuses, had lost the opportunity to enter the 5-directional Devil Steel. Only Lu Ming was left on the 9th step. After seeing how powerful Lu Ming was, the 8th step's geniuses gave up completely. They didn't dare to enter the 9th step and could only try their best to enter the 8th step. The spectators in the distance were also shocked. In the end, they could only sigh helplessly. No wonder Lu Ming was the Undying Demon King's disciple. His talent was too shocking. Lu Ming stood on the 9th step and waited quietly. He still needed to wait for the next step's results to be decided before he could obtain the opportunity to enter the 5-directional Devil Steel. Soon after, the 8th step's results were decided. One of the young men paid the price of being injured and defeated his opponent, occupying the 8th step. After that, the other step's results were decided, and the strongest person was determined. Half an hour later, all 9 steps' results were decided, and the winner was occupied by a single person. Buzz. All of a sudden, the 5-directional Devil Steel shook violently and emitted a dense, devilish light. A pitch-black vortex appeared on the surface of the 5-directional Devil Steel, and it spun continuously. A treasure is flying out. Someone exclaimed in envy. Swish. A streak of light shot out from the whirlpool above the 5 directions Devil Steel and flew towards the first step. The young man on the first step reached out and grabbed the streak of light. When everyone looked over, they discovered that the young man had obtained a weapon. Dense, devilish chi, and the quality of the weapon is excellent. It's an excellent weapon. Someone commented. Generally speaking, the treasures on the first step were the worst. The higher the step, the better. The geniuses on the other steps revealed a look of anticipation. At the very least, they wouldn't be any worse than the first step. At this moment, another treasure flew out from the whirlpool above the Devil Steel and flew towards the young man on the second step. It was a picture scroll, and it was caught by the young man. No one knew what the picture scroll was for. In the next moment, more and more treasures flew out from the vortex and headed towards the geniuses on the other steps. Lu Ming was inwardly amazed. Why are there so many treasures in the Devil Steel? Is there something else in the Devil Steel? Did the Saint Devil Dynasty's ancestors seal all the treasures inside? Or is it a path to an even stronger force? No one knows. Look, that's the life and death talisman. It can save your life at a critical moment. Someone suddenly shouted as he looked at the pitch-black talisman in the young man's hand. It's really the life and death talisman. Heavens, the life and death talisman actually appeared on the 8th step. This is too shocking. The others shouted as well. They were envious of the young man. Many pairs of burning eyes stared at the pitch-black talisman in the young man's hand. The life and death talisman could replace life and death. It meant that when one was in a life or death situation, the life and death talisman could save one's life. It was definitely a peerless treasure. It's impossible for such a precious treasure to appear on the 8th step. I don't think its grade is too high. I think so too. It's only useful for god kings. It's useless for god emperors. Everyone guessed. Chapter 3274. Soon it was confirmed. The young man on the 8th step said that the life and death talisman was only effective on those below the 7th layer of the king god realm. The life and death talisman had different grades. The higher one's cultivation was, the more life essence one had, and the harder it was to die in their place. Therefore, the higher the grade of the life and death talisman, the more valuable it was. Many people above the 7th layer of the king god realm sighed. The life and death talisman was useless to them. Otherwise, they would have bought it even if they had to go bankrupt. However, those who were under the 7th king god layer were envious, especially the young geniuses. They were envious of him. Such a treasure was equivalent to having an extra life. Lu Ming was also envious. At the same time, he was looking forward to it. If the 8th step had such a treasure, what about the 9th step? At this moment, another treasure flew out of the whirlpool. It was a black fruit the size of a fist. It flew toward Lu Ming and was caught by Lu Ming. What kind of fruit is this? Lu Ming looked at the fruit in his hand curiously. However, the color of the fruit was very attractive. He wanted to swallow it. It's the demonic origin fruit. Someone shouted, his eyes burning. It wasn't just the young people. Some of the older generation's eyes were also burning. What's the use of the demonic origin fruit? Lu Ming muttered. Kid, the demonic origin fruit is similar to the god power source orb you got before. Eating one can awaken an origin secret technique. Guillemot explained. What? It's similar to the god power source orb? Lu Ming was shocked, then overjoyed. He finally understood why those people were looking at it with such passion. In a sense, the demonic origin fruit was more valuable than the life and death talisman that could only be used on those below the 7th layer of the king god realm. After all, the life and death talisman could only be used once to save a life. However, the demonic origin fruit could awaken an origin secret technique. Most people couldn't awaken an origin secret technique even if they cultivated for their entire life. Once they awakened an origin secret technique, their strength would increase greatly. At a critical moment, they wouldn't be able to save their lives, but turn the tables and kill their opponents. Therefore, when faced with the demonic origin fruit, even more people revealed burning gazes. Little brother Lu Ming, you've already awakened an origin secret technique. Sell this demonic origin fruit to me. I'm willing to pay a high price. Immediately, an old man spoke up, wanting to buy the demonic origin fruit. Don't sell it to him. Sell it to me. Just tell me what you need. Another old devil hurriedly called out. What did you say? Why can't you sell it to me? The old man in front was furious. The two of them cursed loudly. Lu Ming, sell me your demonic origin fruit, and I'll write off our grudges. An urgent voice sounded. It was none other than young Prince Feng Lu. His heart was burning with passion. Shi Yan's cultivation base had reached the 3rd king god realm. The god power of the origin had awakened for the 2nd time. However, he couldn't comprehend the secret technique of the origin. If he could obtain the demonic origin fruit, he would be able to awaken an origin source secret technique and enter the ranks of the top prodigies. Let go of the grudge between us? Do I care? Lu Ming glanced disdainfully at young Prince Feng Lu. You? Young Prince Feng Lu was rendered speechless. Yes, Lu Ming was the disciple of the undying demon king. Did he care? Stop arguing. I'm keeping this demonic origin fruit. I'm not selling it. Lu Ming put the demonic origin fruit into his interspatial ring. What a joke. He still had 8 divine grade secret techniques. How could he be willing to sell it? If you don't want to sell it, it's useless to keep it. Why don't you sell it? Someone persuaded. Is it any of your business whether I'm useful or not? Lu Ming curled his lips. Many people felt suffocated. Looking at Lu Ming's appearance, they really wanted to slap him to death. However, they could only think about it. Lu Ming was the disciple of the Undying Demon King. They didn't dare. The identity of the Undying Demon King's disciple is really useful. Sigh, when the Undying Demon King comes out of seclusion, I'll be in trouble. Whatever, I'll just take it one step at a time. Lu Ming grumbled in his heart. By this time, the whirlpool on the 5-directional devil steel had already disappeared. At the same time, the dense devil chi on the 5-directional devil steel also faded away. The pressure on Lu Ming and the others also disappeared without a trace. That terrifying roar also disappeared at the same time. The 5-directional devil steel turned back into an ordinary stone steel, and there was nothing strange about it. With the pressure gone, Lu Ming soared into the sky and looked around. He discovered that their devil steel wasn't the first to recover. Other than this one, the devil chi on the other 2 devil steels had also disappeared. It was clear that 2 other devil steels had obtained the treasures faster than them. There's actually a demonic origin fruit on the 9th step. I have to hurry and get a few more. Lu Ming quickly flew towards the devil steel in the west. The rules of the 5-directional devil steels didn't stipulate that a person could only climb one devil steel. In fact, as long as he had enough time, he could climb all the devil steels. However, before he could reach the devil steel, the devil chi on the devil steel started to fade. Nest, I'm a step too late. Let's go to the other one. Lu Ming flew towards the devil steel in the north. This time, he was a step too late. As soon as he moved, the devil chi on the devil steel also started to fade. Lu Ming was speechless. Right now, only the devil steel in the middle was left, and the devil chi in it hadn't dissipated. Lu Ming quickly rushed over. As he neared, he saw that there were still people fighting on the 9 steps of the devil steel. The victor hadn't been decided yet. There were many people gathered below the devil steel. The rules of this devil steel are different? As soon as Lu Ming arrived, he heard people talking about it. The devil steel in the middle was the core of the 5-directional devil steels. It was also the highest grade of the 5-directional devil steels. The treasures that appeared were also of the highest grade. Therefore, the number of sky prides that would be attracted to this event was also the highest. However, the competition on the 9 steps was different. The 5-directional devil steels didn't count based on cultivation, but talent. Different cultivation levels meant different levels of pressure. The higher one's cultivation level, the higher the pressure. Therefore, it was only in the upper realm that the stronger one was, the more advantageous it would be. Only those with the highest talent would be able to step onto the 9th step. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the 5-directional devil steels, and he saw that the highest step, the 9th step, was already occupied. Moreover, there was only one young man on that step. He's Mo Yi, the son of the Holy Devil Emperor and the Devil Emperor. He's the most talented person in the younger generation. Although his cultivation isn't the highest, the higher one's cultivation is, the greater the pressure. Thus, no one can compete with Mo Yi on the 9th step. This time, the 5-directional devil steel is opened by Mo Yi. The best treasure on the core devil steel will definitely fall into his hands. Many people were talking about it. Chapter 3275. Mo Yi? I'm sorry, but I'll take the best treasure. Lu Ming muttered. He then took a step forward and walked toward the first step. There were still 5 or 6 people competing for the first step. The reason why the competition was so intense was that there were too many people competing. The higher the cultivation, the greater the pressure. In fact, it was almost equivalent to a battle of the same level. Therefore, many people with weaker cultivation came here to compete with those with higher cultivation. Just like the previous demonic steel, Lu Ming stepped onto the first step. The people on the first step stared at Lu Ming cautiously. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not stop. He stepped onto the first step. That kid is here again. He's too greedy. Many people were filled with righteous indignation. At the same time, They were curious to see how far Lu Ming could go. Every time Lu Ming stepped onto a step, the people on the step would stare at Lu Ming cautiously. If Lu Ming wanted to stay on this step, there would definitely be a battle between the two of them. However, Lu Ming did not stop. He continued to climb and soon he reached the 8th step. Boom! There was only one youth left on the 8th step. When he saw Lu Ming coming up, he released a powerful aura and was about to attack Lu Ming. He thought that Lu Ming wanted to compete for this step. As for the 9th step, it was Emo Chinya. He did not think that Lu Ming would dare to compete with Emo Chinya. You'd better not do anything. Otherwise, it'll be too late for regrets. Lu Ming said coldly as a cold light flashed in his eyes. The youth was shocked and felt a strong sense of danger. It was a sense of danger that he sensed with his spiritual perception. He could not help but stop and did not continue to attack. You're lucky. Lu Ming smiled and continued to step onto the 9th step. This guy wants to go to the 9th step. He's asking for it. The genius on the 8th step looked down on him. This guy is really going to challenge Emo Chinya. This is going to be interesting. The scene was noisy. Many hoped that Emo Chinya would be able to suppress Lu Ming. Emo Chinya's cultivation base wasn't the highest among the younger generation because he was still young. However, his talent was definitely the highest. This time, he had activated the 5-directional Devil Steel from the Devil Palace. In the history of the Saint Devil Dynasty, very few people had managed to do so. Could Lu Ming fight Emo Chinya? Emo Chinya was dressed in black. He stood tall and straight with a cold expression. There was a demonic mark between his eyebrows, which made him look even more demonic. He was known as the son of saint and demon. What did this mean? This was equivalent to the son of destiny in the mortal world. You want to fight me? Emo Chinya looked at Lu Ming and said indifferently. He looked down on Lu Ming as if he was trying to corrupt him. That's right. It's because I've taken a fancy to this staircase. So, please go down. Lu Ming said indifferently. Treat me to the afternoon? Ha. Emo Chinya laughed crazily as if he had heard something very funny. His laughter was filled with contempt and disdain. This was the core Devil Steel. On these steps, the higher one's cultivation base was, the greater the suppression. On these steps, it was almost the same as fighting someone of the same level. Who could be his opponent in a battle of the same level? Lu Ming actually dared to ask him to go down. Wasn't this ridiculous? Of course, he had never seen Lu Ming, nor had he seen Lu Ming fight. That was why he thought so. Those who had seen Lu Ming fight didn't think so. Emo Chinya, this person is extraordinary. Be careful. Someone reminded him. Do you mean that I'm no match for him? Emo Chinya looked at the person who had reminded him, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. That person immediately shut his mouth. Emo Chinya was arrogant and overbearing. Moreover, he was a direct descendant of the Saint Devil Dynasty's imperial family. He was ruthless and could kill without batting an eyelid. That person didn't dare to say anything. The others also shut their mouths, afraid of offending Emo Chinya. Brat, I'll break your limbs for daring to walk up to the 9th step. Emo Chinya said coldly. In his opinion, Lu Ming walking up to the 9th step was an insult to him. Just now, no one dared to walk up to the 9th step to compete with him. He had already proven his strength. Therefore, he would definitely make those who looked down on him unforgettable. However, before he could finish his pretentious words, he was interrupted by Lu Ming. Talk too much. Hurry up and make your move. I don't have so much time to chat with you. Hurry up and send you down. Lu Ming said. Crazy, incomparably crazy. Emo Chinya was already crazy, but Lu Ming was even crazier. Emo Chinya's eyes flashed with terrifying killing intent. Lu Ming dared to talk to him with such an attitude. He was courting death. Kneel down. Emo Chinya roared. His demonic chi soared to the sky as he waved his palm. A huge palm pressed down on Lu Ming, trying to force Lu Ming to kneel down. Lu Ming flicked his finger and a spear light burst out, piercing through the palm print. Hurry up and show me your strongest strength. I'll give you a chance to show off. Don't dawdle here. Lu Ming scolded. The reason why he didn't blast Emochinya down was that he wanted to see what skills he had and what secret techniques he had. To put it bluntly, he was just curious. You, Emochinya almost vomited blood. He had never seen such an arrogant person. Go to hell. Abyssal demonic well. Emochinya roared. His demonic chi soared to the sky as a demonic well emerged. This demonic well was pitch black. No one knew how deep it was, as if it led to the abyss of hell. The demonic well spun and flew towards Lu Ming. A terrifying, devouring force erupted from the demonic well as if it wanted to devour everything, including Lu Ming. This was Emochinya's secret technique. Emochinya was infuriated. He used his most powerful move to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out the Gate of Domination. The Gate of Domination flew towards the abyssal demonic well and collided with it. With a loud bang, the Gate of Domination shook slightly, while Emochinya's abyssal demonic well exploded. With a scream, Emochinya's body flew out of the 9th step. He continued to retreat for 10,000 meters before regaining his balance. Everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe what they had just seen. Emochinya was killed in one move. How was this possible? Emochinya was known as the son of a saint and a demon. He was the most talented person in the Saint Devil dynasty. That's all you got? Lu Ming curled his lips casually. The higher one's cultivation, the stronger the suppression. It was different from the other 4 devil steels. Therefore, Lu Ming and Emochinya were almost at the same level. When had Lu Ming ever been afraid of someone at the same level? He hadn't met anyone at the same level as him. Although Emochinya wasn't bad, he couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. Chapter 3276. Emochinya was stunned. He looked around in a daze, as if he was in a nightmare. He was actually sent flying off the 9th step by Lu Ming in one move. For someone as prideful as him, it was hard for him to accept. What made him want to vomit blood was that once he was sent flying, he couldn't continue to participate. This time, he was the one who opened the 5-direction devil steel, but in the end, he became an outsider. He was like a fool, paving the way for someone else. Thinking of this, Emochinya couldn't take it anymore and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Brat, I'm going to kill you!" Emochinya roared, his demonic chi filling the sky. "You don't know what's good for you. Don't you know that I spared your life?" Lu Ming said indifferently. Emochinya almost vomited blood again. After that, Lu Ming ignored Emochinya and sat down on the 9th step, waiting quietly. On the 8th step, the youth's face was pale, but he was secretly glad. He was glad that he didn't make a move against Lu Ming. Otherwise, he would be the one sent down. Even Emochinya was sent down by Lu Ming in one move. It would only take half a move to send him down. Time passed slowly, and the outcome of the other flights of stairs was also decided. Not long after, the outcome of the 9 steps was finally decided. Buzz. The devil steel vibrated, and a vortex appeared. Many people perked up, their eyes filled with anticipation. The treasures that appeared on the core devil steel were always the best. What would be the best this time? A ray of light flew out and was caught by a genius on the 1st step. Holy devil flower, it's the holy devil flower. 1 petal is equivalent to 100,000 years of cultivation. Someone exclaimed, his eyes burning with passion. The holy devil flower could refine demonic chi and raise one's cultivation. It was very useful. Consuming 1 petal was equivalent to 100,000 years of cultivation. Of course, this 100,000 years was measured by an ordinary cultivator. The cultivation speed of a genius was faster than an ordinary person. Naturally, a petal couldn't compare to 100,000 years of cultivation. For example, if it was used on Lu Ming, it would be equivalent to 100,000 years of cultivation. If Lu Ming took one, wouldn't his cultivation soar? That wasn't too realistic. Even so, a single divine devil flower was an extremely rare treasure. It was comparable to the treasures on the 7th step of the devil steel. Treasures flew out of the devil steel one after another. The treasures that flew out later were all more valuable than the holy devil flower. There were divine weapons, divine pills, precious secret arts, and divine arts. Finally, the geniuses on the first 8 steps all obtained a treasure. Seeing this, the other geniuses all looked on with envy. Especially the treasures on the 8th step, many older generation figures coveted them. What is my treasure? Lu Ming stared at the devil's steel, rubbing his palms together in anticipation. Swoosh! All of a sudden, 2 rays of light flew out and were caught by Lu Ming. Devil origin fruits. 2 devil origin fruits? Lu Ming was surprised. This time, more devil origin fruits flew out of the devil's steel. Moreover, there were 2 of them. Seeing the 2 devil origin fruits, many people looked on with envy. However, there were also some who were surprised. That's not right. Although the demonic origin fruit is incomparably precious, it's practically priceless and hard to find. Needless to say, the 2 devil origin fruits were precious. However, they were still slightly inferior to the treasures on the 8th step. Yes, the total value of the 2 devil origin fruits added together was still slightly inferior to the treasures on the 8th step. However, weren't the treasures on the 9th step the best? How could they be inferior to the treasures on the 8th step? Just as everyone was surprised, another ray of light flew out of the whirlpool on the devil's steel. There's more. Everyone was shocked. There were actually several treasures on the 9th step. Lu Ming was overjoyed and quickly reached out to catch it. When he looked at it, he was stunned. This time, it was a book that flew out. It was warm to the touch, and he didn't know what material it was made of. Could it be some kind of divine art? Lu Ming was surprised and opened it. Heavenly Demon Golden Body. There were 4 words on the front page. Heavenly Demon Golden Body. It was a secret technique. Is there more? Lu Ming looked at the devil's steel eagerly, hoping that there would be more treasures. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. The whirlpool on the devil's steel slowly disappeared, and the devil chi on the devil's steel was also fading. Little brother, what is that book in your hand? Is it a divine art or a secret technique? Someone asked curiously. It's a secret technique, Lu Ming said. What kind of secret technique? That person continued to ask. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and said, Heavenly Demon Golden Body. Lu Ming didn't know whether this secret technique was good or not, what it was used for, and what grade it was. Therefore, he said it out loud to see if the people of the Saint Devil dynasty knew about it. He didn't expect that the moment he said the name. Almost everyone's eyes widened as they looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Little brother, what did you say? What is it called? An old man asked, his voice trembling. Heavenly Demon Golden Body. Lu Ming repeated. Hiss! Countless people at the scene sucked in a breath of cold air. Then, almost everyone's eyes shone with a fiery light, like a hungry person who saw a pile of delicious food. Fiery, incomparably fiery. Heavenly Demon Golden Body, I didn't expect the Heavenly Demon Golden Body to really exist. Legend has it that the supreme secret technique of the Demon Tao can condense the Heavenly Demon Golden Body and be invincible. I've only heard of it in legends. I didn't expect it to really appear. Could it be that the 5-directional devil steel is really connected to a stronger force? The scene was in an uproar. Many people revealed a greedy look, wishing that they could snatch the Heavenly Demon Golden Body from Lu Ming's hands. However, they thought of the undying Demon King and gave up on the idea. Compared to the Heavenly Demon Golden Body, their lives were more important. Heavenly Demon Golden Body, it's actually the Heavenly Demon Golden Body, Emochinya muttered to himself, his eyes filled with greed. His body was trembling with anger, and his eyes were red. All of this originally belonged to him, but now it was in Lu Ming's hands. Kid, hand over the Heavenly Demon Golden Body. Hand it over to me. Emochinya finally couldn't take it anymore. He roared, his demonic aura soaring to the sky, and stepped toward Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. Hand it over to you? Are you stupid? Lu Ming said faintly, and hurriedly put the Heavenly Demon Golden Body into his storage ring. Give it to me, it was originally mine. Give it to me, I'm the son of a saint and only I can have the Heavenly Demon secret technique. Emochinya shouted, his aura becoming more violent. Son of a saint and a demon? You're just a loser. Lu Ming said coldly. What did you say? You're courting death. My cultivation was suppressed by the devil's steel before. If I go all out, I can suppress you with one hand. Emo Chinya was furious. Chapter 3277. Emo Chinya was known as the #1 genius of the Saint Devil dynasty's younger generation. He was indeed powerful and unrivaled in the younger generation. In the Devil Gathering 100 years ago, he had won first place and entered the Devil Palace to cultivate. Over the years, he had become stronger and stronger. He had even entered the depths of the Devil Palace and activated the 5-directional Devil Steel in advance. Since the 5-directional Devil Steel was activated, he naturally wanted to reach the top of the core Devil Steel and obtain the best treasures. However, he had never imagined that Lu Ming would appear out of nowhere and send him flying off the stairs with a single move. He hadn't even obtained a single strand of hair, and he had even lost face. More importantly, Lu Ming's treasures were extraordinarily good. Not only did he obtain 2 devil origin fruits, but he also obtained the legendary Heavenly Devil Golden Body. He was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. Now that Lu Ming had mocked him, he couldn't hold it in any longer and attacked in rage. At this moment, the devil chi on the Devil Steel had disappeared, and the pressure on Lu Ming and the others had disappeared as well. The others could now enter the stairs. Boom! Emo Chinya dove down, stirring up a torrential wave. He pressed his palm down, and a huge devil palm slammed down on Lu Ming. Devil chi surged, and devil might filled the sky. Now that Emo Chinya wasn't suppressed by external forces, he could unleash his full cultivation. Peak 5th Heaven God King Realm. This was Emo Chinya's cultivation. Without hesitation, Lu Ming activated the battle character art and quadrupled his battle strength. The 10 types of God force in his body circulated and gathered in his fists. As he punched out, numerous 9-clawed dragons appeared, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws as they soared into the sky. Boom! Heaven and earth shook, and the 9-clawed dragons and devil palm crumbled at the same time. Die! Emo Chinya charged at Lu Ming with a violent aura. His palm was black and shiny, like a divine weapon. As he swung it down, the void trembled violently. Lu Ming formed a long spear with his god force and slashed out. 3rd Annihilation Strike, Moon Severing. Lu Ming had long since reached the pinnacle of the 3rd strike of annihilation. Thus, he was able to use it with ease. Rays of crescent-shaped spear light burst out and collided with Emo Chinya's palm. Boom! Boom! Rumbling sounds continued. Both of them attacked very quickly. In the blink of an eye, both sides had exchanged dozens of blows. Then, both of them retreated backward. His strength is indeed not bad. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Emo Chinya was indeed very strong. He obviously hadn't used his full strength just now, but Lu Ming felt that his combat strength was much stronger than other geniuses of the same level. Previously, on the Eastern Devil Steel, Lu Ming had easily defeated 2 5th-layer Divine King Realm geniuses. However, those 2 geniuses were much weaker than Emo Chinya. Little did he know that Emo Chinya was even more shocked. He had always been invincible among those of the same level. No one was his match among those of the same level. However, with his 5th-layer Divine King cultivation, he couldn't defeat Lu Ming, who was only a 3rd-layer Divine King Realm cultivator. He had always been the one to fight those of a higher level. Today, Lu Ming was fighting someone of a higher level. He found it hard to accept. 3rd Heavenly Demon Transformation, Heavenly Demon Change. Emo Chinya roared. The demonic light on his body became denser. At the same time, his body began to swell and his bones cracked. Then, bone spikes pierced out of his body, turning blood red. This was a secret technique, the 3rd Heavenly Demon Transformation. Tang Hao had also used this secret technique before. It was very powerful. However, Tang Hao had only cultivated the 1st Heavenly Demon Transformation, the Human Demon Change. Emo Chinya, on the other hand, had already cultivated the 3rd Heavenly Demon Change. Therefore, his transformation continued. A pair of demonic wings extended from his back. His eyes turned blood red, making him look even more demonic. Demon-defying blade. Emo Chinya roared. He grasped the air and an ancient demonic blade appeared. This demonic saber was his origin source secret technique. Emochinya was really angry. He pushed his strength to the limit. The combination of the heavenly demon change and origin secret technique boosted his strength to the limit. Lu Ming's expression turned grave. With a thought, he transformed into the ancient god body, the green-armored ancient god, and the gate of domination appeared. Die! Emochinya roared and flapped his demonic wings, bringing about a terrifying gust of wind. His body dashed toward Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. The demon-defying blade slashed toward Lu Ming's head. Demonic might was vast and mighty. Clang! Lu Ming manipulated the gate of domination and charged forward. The two origin source secret skills collided with each other, erupting with an earth-shattering boom. A terrifying force swept out in all directions, as if it could destroy the world. However, the five-directional devil steel and the steps under their feet were made of an unknown material. They were extremely hard. When their energy landed on the steps and the devil steel, they did not even leave a mark. Everyone present held their breath and watched with wide eyes. One was the #1 genius of the younger generation in the Saint Demon dynasty. He had the strongest talent and was known as the son of Saint Demon. The other one had emerged as a new force. He had defeated the other geniuses and was taken in as a disciple by the undying Demon King. Between the two, who was stronger? The first collision between the two created a huge wave. Both of them retreated at the same time. I don't believe it. That Emochinya roared again and launched a storm-like attack. The blood-red bone spurs on his body flew out and pierced through the air toward Lu Ming. There was also a pair of wings on his back. As he flapped them, endless demonic chi turned into terrifying attacks that shot toward Lu Ming. The most terrifying thing was his origin demonic tree and demon-defying blade. In the face of such an attack, Lu Ming had to take it seriously. Spear Dao River. The long spear in Lu Ming's hand recovered. A vast river formed by endless spear radiance appeared and blocked all of Emochinya's attacks. At the same time, the gate of domination blocked Emochinya's demon-defying blade. Boom, boom, boom. Both of them were extremely fast. Every move had the power to destroy the world. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than 50 moves. One had to admit that Emochinya was extremely powerful. He was far stronger than other geniuses of the same level. Among the geniuses that Lu Ming had met, only Di Jinni, Chu Chenkong, and Autumn Moon had such strength. In a battle of the same level, even geniuses like Su Wuya and Yi Jifan were weaker than Emochinya. With such strength and 2 levels higher than Lu Ming, Emochinya was indeed not easy to deal with. Damn it, the more Emochinya fought, the more shocked he became. He could not believe that there was such a powerful genius in the world. His jealousy grew and his attacks became more violent. He swore to kill Lu Ming. Emochinya, is this all you've got? Then this battle can end. Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. At this moment, the long spear in his hand disappeared and was replaced by the Overlord's spear. Chapter 3278. At this moment, Lu Ming used the Overlord's spear. Using the 2 origin secret techniques at the same time consumed a terrifying amount of divine power. Ordinary people would not be able to sustain it. However, Lu Ming had the quantifying formula and there was a steady stream of divine power surging into Lu Ming's body from the quantifying formula. Spear Path River. He waved the Overlord's spear and used the ultimate move of the God of War's strike, Spear Path River. A mighty river of thousands of miles long formed by spear radiance swept towards Emochinya. The God of War's strike was a spear path divine technique. With the support of the Overlord's spear, its power was at its strongest. At the same time, the gate of domination pressed down on Emochinya. Emochinya couldn't defend against the 2 origin source secret techniques at the same time, and both were at their most powerful. Boom, boom. Emochinya tried his best to block the attack of the gate of domination, but failed to block the attack of the Spear Path River. His demonic wings protected him tightly, but the Spear Dao River pierced through his demonic wings, leaving bloody holes in them. Emochinya retreated quickly, blood spraying in the air. Not only were the demon's wings pierced, but even his body was pierced by the spear light, leaving small bloody holes. Emotienya was severely injured. His face was pale and he couldn't believe it. That's an origin secret technique? 2 origin secret techniques? It's really 2 origin secret techniques. How can he have 2 origin secret techniques? Ancient cultivation technique. It's the ancient cultivation technique. He cultivated 2 types of divine power. Awakening origin secret techniques with 2 types of divine power. Such talent. Many people in the surroundings had guessed that Lu Ming was cultivating the ancient cultivation method. Few people cultivated the ancient cultivation technique, but it wasn't unheard of. However, it was far too difficult to awaken the origin source secret techniques from both divine powers. Awakening origin secret techniques with 1 type of divine power was already a rare genius, let alone 2. Son of a saint and a demon? Your strength is only SOS. Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward and the sky rumbled. The gate of domination moved along with him, suppressing Emotienya. Emotienya roared and tried his best to resist. However, he had already been severely injured and his strength had been greatly reduced. He was no match for Lu Ming. The demon-defying blade in his hand once again clashed with the gate of domination. With a violent roar, the devil-defying blade exploded. Emotienya spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated rapidly, spraying blood all over the sky. Lu Ming quickly followed, not giving Emotienya the slightest chance to breathe, wanting to trample him under his feet. But at this time, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Lu Ming. A violent demonic chi surged towards Lu Ming. This demonic chi was as vast as the abyss and was simply too strong. Lu Ming's body retreated rapidly, unable to resist. After retreating 100 li, Lu Ming stopped. Only then did he clearly see the person who attacked him. It was an old man dressed in black robes. His aura was unfathomable. What? You can't beat your peers, so you sent your seniors? What a son of a saint and a demon! Lu Ming said coldly, full of mockery. Obviously, this old man was Emotienya Sr. Kill this brat, kill him. Emotienya roared hysterically, wanting the old man to kill Lu Ming. But how would the old man dare? With his seniority, if he attacked Lu Ming, what if the undying Demon King was drawn out? With a smile on his face, he said, "Young Master Lu Ming, since the winner has been decided, let's forget about it." It doesn't matter. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the 2 origin secret techniques. No, we can't let this go. Emotienya roared. He didn't want to let Lu Ming go. Legend has it that the heavenly devil golden body is a supreme secret technique of the devil Tao. Only the heaven's mandate demon son can cultivate it. He doesn't have any devil chi on him, so how can he be the heaven's mandate demon son? The devil steel must have made a mistake. The heavenly devil golden body belongs to me, and I am the heaven's mandate demon son. Emotienya roared, his eyes red. He was unwilling to give up the heavenly devil golden body. Many people fell into deep thought. That was indeed the case. Legend had it that the heavenly devil golden body was a supreme secret technique of the devil Tao. Only the heaven's mandate demon son could obtain it. However, Lu Ming didn't have any devil chi on him, nor did he cultivate any devil arts. How could he obtain the heavenly devil golden body? Could it be because of Emotienya? One had to know that the 5-directional devil steel was opened by Emotienya. In the beginning, Emotienya was also the one who stood on the 9th step of the core devil steel. Maybe the devil steel recognized Emotienya, which was why it flew out of the heavenly devil golden body. After all, Emotienya was called the son of a saint and a devil saint. The meaning was similar to the heaven's mandate demon son. Unfortunately, Lu Ming intercepted him halfway. That was really possible. The more Emotienya thought about it, the more he felt that it was true. Lu Ming, you don't have the qualifications to take away the heavenly devil golden body. Hand it over. Emotienya roared. Hand it over? What a joke. You say you're the heaven's mandate demon son, so you're the heaven's mandate demon son? Why can't I be the heaven's mandate demon son? Lu Ming retorted. You're the heaven's mandate demon son? That's even more ridiculous. You don't have any devil chi, so how can you be the heaven's mandate demon son? Emo Chinya sneered. Even if I don't have any devil chi now, doesn't that mean I can't cultivate in the future? What if I'm a supreme genius cultivating the devil Tao? I'm destined to be the heaven's mandate demon son. Otherwise, why would the undying demon king accept me as his disciple? Lu Ming sneered sarcastically. Do you think everyone is a fool? How can you cultivate in the future? Don't try to quibble, hand over the heavenly devil golden body. Emo Chinya roared. Everyone had a golden age for cultivation. If Lu Ming were to cultivate the demonic arts now, how would he be able to achieve anything? He didn't believe that there was such a person in the world. What's impossible about it? You're just short-sighted. Lu Ming was at loggerheads with him, refusing to hand it over. Obviously, the heavenly devil golden body was a supreme secret technique. This could be seen from the reaction of the people of the Saint Demon Dynasty and Emo Chinya. Even if he couldn't use it himself, he could sell it for a great price. Lu Ming and Emo Chinya argued, neither of them willing to give in. The others around them were also helpless. One was the son of Saint and Demon King, the strongest sky pride of the imperial family. The other was the disciple of the undying Demon King. They couldn't help either of them. Helping either of them would mean offending the other party. How about this? It's very simple. As long as we confirm who is the heaven's mandate demon son, the heavenly devil golden body will belong to him. We'll go to the ancestral demon statue. If it's really the heaven's mandate demon son, the ancestral demon statue will definitely react. At this moment, an old man suggested. Okay, I agree. Emo Chinya agreed without hesitation. He was very confident in himself and firmly believed that he was the heaven's mandate demon son. He was just intercepted by Lu Ming halfway. The ancestral demon statue? Lu Ming hesitated. He wasn't sure about this. Chapter 3279. What, Tianming demon son? He was just bragging. Moreover, the undying demon king did not accept him as a disciple. It was all nonsense. Even he himself felt that the appearance of the heavenly demon golden body was probably due to Emo Chinya. If he were to go to the ancestral demon statue to verify it, wouldn't he be exposed? Kid, don't be afraid. Go ahead. At this time, Bone Demon said to Lu Ming, Go ahead? You have a way? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked, Of course. Don't you know who I am? My name is Bone Demon. I'm the ancestor of the demonic Tao. The demonic Tao these guys are playing is child's play. Bone Demon said, sounding very arrogant. Okay. Lu Ming immediately decided to go. Okay, then let's go to the ancestral demon statue to verify it and make you give up. Lu Ming said. Hearing Lu Ming's agreement, Emo Chinya was overjoyed. He was very confident in his demonic Tao talent. Then let's go to the ancestral demon statue, an elder said. Immediately, everyone flew in the direction of the ancestral demon statue. It was a large group of people. Soon, they arrived at a majestic mountain peak. At the peak of the mountain, there was a huge demon statue that was 10,000 feet tall. This demon statue was made of Zhenmu and was filled with powerful demonic qi. Ordinary people would find it difficult to get close as they would be suppressed by the demonic qi. This demon statue was obtained by the first demon emperor of the Saint Devil Dynasty from an ancient ruin. It's very mysterious. We don't know what it's used for. Most people don't have any reaction except for the strong demon aura. However, once a peerless genius of the demonic Tao steps forward, the devil statue will sense it. The demonic Tao genius will resonate with the devil statue, and a devil light will envelop the genius body. The demonic light is divided into strong and weak. Only those with demonic light of 70 feet are considered Tianming demon sons. Who wants to go first? An elder from the Saint Devil Dynasty explained. This person had a high status in the Saint Devil Dynasty. He was an old duke. I'll go first. Emo Chinya stepped forward with an arrogant look. He gave Lu Ming a provocative look before slowly approaching the golem. I'll go first. The bone devil smiled. Then it passed through Lu Ming's body from his sea of consciousness. It went under Lu Ming's feet and disappeared into the ground. No one noticed it. Lu Ming was not worried about Bone Devil. Soon, Emo Chinye was 3,000 meters away from the statue. Generally speaking, as long as one was within a distance of 3,000 feet, the demonic statue would sense it. But now, the golem didn't move at all. What happened? Emo Chinye was stunned. Why didn't the golem react at all? This wasn't his first time here. He had been here before. In the end, the devilish light on his body reached 29 meters, just shy of 27 meters. That was why he was called the son of saint and demon, and not the demon's son of destiny. But this time, he had entered the devil palace to cultivate for 100 years. He had also obtained some fortuitous encounters, and his foundation had become even deeper. He was completely confident that he would definitely be able to reach a height of 7 feet and become a true demon's son of heaven's mandate. But what was going on? Last time, when he was 3,000 feet away from the golem had already sensed him. But now, why wasn't there any reaction? The other onlookers were also surprised. It must be because my foundation and talent have improved. That's why there's no reaction at this distance. I should go closer. Emo Chinye said to himself. Then he continued to move forward, toward the golem. Soon he was 9,000 feet away from the golem, but there was still no reaction. Emo Chinye was puzzled. He gritted his teeth and continued forward. 8,000 feet, still no reaction. Emo Chinye was a little confused. Then he continued forward. 7,000 feet, still no reaction. Emo Chinye began to panic. 6,000 feet, 5,000 feet, still no reaction. Emo Chinye's eyes turned red. What's going on? Why isn't the golem reacting? I don't believe it. Continue. Emo Chinye roared and continued forward. 4,000 feet, 3,000 feet, 2,000 feet, and finally 1,000 feet, but the golem didn't react at all. This is the son of saint and demon? Are you kidding me? There's no reaction at all? Lu Ming was good at finding opportunities to mock him. Emo Chinye's face flushed red. Impossible, impossible, I don't believe it. Emo Chinye roared. He quickened his pace and approached the golem. In the end, he was about to lean on the golem, but there was still no reaction. Hurry up and react, Emo Chinye roared in his heart. In the end, he hugged one of the golem's legs, but there was still no reaction. The others were also confused. They couldn't understand why the golem didn't react at all. Why don't you just kneel in front of the golem? Maybe the golem will react. Lu Ming seized the opportunity to continue mocking him. Emo Chinye glared at Lu Ming with red eyes and then unwillingly retreated. There must be something wrong with the golem. Otherwise, there's no reaction. You're blaming the golem because you can't do it. What a joke. Lu Ming sneered. Release? Bullshit. I came here 100 years ago and the golem reacted. The demonic light reached 6,000 feet. If there's nothing wrong with the golem, why isn't there any reaction now? Emo Chinye roared. That's because I wasn't here last time. Now I'm standing here. Lu Ming said proudly. What does it have to do with you standing here? Emo Chinye almost roared. Of course it has something to do with it. Because I, the real demon son of destiny, am here. Why would the golem take a fancy to a fake like you? Naturally, there's no reaction at all. Lu Ming said indifferently. Emo Chinye was trembling with anger. The others also looked at each other. They didn't know how to refute Lu Ming because they actually felt that what he said made sense. You go up and take a look. There must be something wrong with the golem. Even if you go up, the golem won't have any reaction. Emo Chinye said affirmatively. What if I go up and the golem reacts? What do you say? Lu Ming said. If the golem reacts when you go up, I'll avoid you from now on. Emo Chinye said fiercely because he didn't believe that the golem would have any reaction when Lu Ming went up. Even he, the son of saint and demon son, didn't have any reaction when he went up. How could Lu Ming, who didn't have any demonic chi, go up? Impossible. Then open your eyes wide and watch carefully. Lu Ming smiled contemptuously, then put his hands behind his back and walked forward as if he was taking a leisurely stroll. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming. As Lu Ming got closer and closer to the golem, many people couldn't help but have their hearts in their mouths. Lu Ming was so confident. Would the golem really react? Finally, Lu Ming came to 1,000 feet away from the golem. Buzz. When Lu Ming came to this position, the golem suddenly shook and emitted a dazzling light. Then, a demonic light burst out and fell on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming's body also burst out with a dazzling demonic light. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.